Welcome to Hurdlestone 2020 Scouts and Guide Zone with me, your host, Torsten Payne. And in the few minutes we have here, we'll be discussing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, optical illusions, and what exactly is going on in your brain. Question for you, first of all. Would you still be yourself if you moved to another country? Would you still be you if you change your clothes, if you get a suntan, or a bit more dramatically, if you get a new heart, or even a new face? Now, assuming that you do still think you're you, where does the real you live? If it's not in your heart, if it's not in your face, what makes you you? Religious people may think a soul, but a lot of people would also answer a brain, and there's a nice healthy one because it's all pink. They only go grey when they're dead. Like most complicated things, the brain can also go wrong quite easily. I'll give you an example. How many black dots can you spot in that picture? Now the answer is none, and I'll leave you to Google it yourself if you want to find out how that works. Are those lines, the horizontal lines, are they properly horizontal or are they a bit wonky leaning one way and the other? Again, they're actually all absolutely horizontal. It's the spaces between the black and the white that's subtly shifted to make it look. And how many prongs does that have? And if you think you got an answer, look at the other end and think again. Okay, that's called a paradox illusion, in that it couldn't really exist in real life. So the brain can, which is sort of what we're coming to. Three very famous celebrities here. What do they have in common apart from the fact they're famous? It is that they've all suffered from various mental health issues, which is something I wanted to talk about today. Hugely important. 1 in 4 people experience a mental illness in their lifetime. It can affect you at any age. Some things you're born with, some you just have for a short while at some point in your life. And it can affect anyone, including people who are incredibly rich, famous, massively successful in their fields. They're just as likely to suffer from it as anybody else. And there are loads of other examples, from Lady Gaga to Stephen Fry to Prince Harry. Mental health, hugely important, especially in these odd times that we're living in, where people have perhaps been a lot more cut off than they would normally be. And it is important. I'm going to give you 10 tips as to how to keep your brain healthy. We all know that it's important to keep our body healthy, but the brain equally so. What can we do? One is to talk about your feelings. It's normal to be happy some days, sad others, and to struggle to deal with some things. That's absolutely fine. It is terrible for you to bottle it up. Please find somebody that you can talk to about them. Keep active. If you physically keep yourself active, that keeps your brain a lot better in shape as well. The blood flows, all that kind of stuff. Eat well. Again, it seems fairly obvious, but don't fool yourself with junk food. Try to eat a fairly balanced diet. Give yourself a break occasionally. Don't do too much. Don't be exhausted the whole time running from one thing to another. Drink sensibly. Now, obviously, you won't be 18, so you'd never have touched alcohol, but that also means drink enough water, especially when it's hot, especially if you're doing exercise. Really important to keep hydrated. Keep in touch with people. A little picture of a phone, because that might be how you're having to do it, or through Zoom at the moment, but it is really important. We are social animals. We need that contact with other people. Do something you're good at, something you enjoy doing. Use those skills. Accept who you are. Now, this goes back a little bit to talk about your feelings. Some people are tall, some people are short, some people are good at some things and other people are good at others. That's normal, okay? It's also normal to be sad on occasion, or to be frustrated or angry at times. All of that is fine, and accepting that takes a lot of the stress out of the whole thing. When there are things you can't deal with, or you don't think you're dealing with it well, ask for help. One of the first things of stress, really not dealing with things, is that people try to do everything themselves, and it's the worst thing you can do. Ask somebody for help. And lastly, care for others. Actually makes us a lot healthier and a lot happier the more we care for other people. And not only is that good for your mental health, it will also make you a better scout or guide, because as the highlighted bits show, it actually fits in with several of the promises, several of the laws that we've all sort of taken to be a scout or a guide. It has been said there are sort of about 100,000 neurons in the brain, and there is an almost infinite number of connections between them. They can connect in all every possible way. And if you're into fractal mathematics, you can work it all out properly. But otherwise, it is true to say that there are more possible connections in your brain than there are atoms in the entire universe. Your brain is an amazing thing. So do everything you can to look after it, and it will look after you. Thank you very much for listening. Stay safe, and yeah, have a great hurdle stone.